You're joking, right?
Well, I'm trying to be hopeful. I'm trying to be optimistic about that.
Well, I guess you're too young to be a little pessimistic like me. The fucking things I see out there, people are stupid. What up, Ron?
Hey, Dad.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So we just telling for all you listeners, we don't have as many fatherly advice write-ins as we used to, submissions, because we used to, I guess, because
I think we just solved the world's issues.
correct. But I think there are people out there that are either
I think some people might not know. Yeah.
Right. So we definitely we think it's a great little part of our podcast. We love the fatherly advice stuff. We love hearing what's going on with our listeners, and we love giving our advice, which we think is very beneficial. So don't forget to write into Bronson. How do they do that, Bron?
In the description of the show. So if you're listening to on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, if you go to the description of the episode, you'll see a link, and you just click the link, and then you fill it out.
Yeah, so go do it, peeps. All right, so how we doing, Bronny? Good to see what Kevin texted me. Just working on my
that salmon that I ate, by the way, was bad. I can feel it.
Oh, that's not good.
You know when you bite into a piece of fish and you're like, that doesn't taste how it should, and then you keep eating and you're like, yeah, whatever, it's fine. I feel now that I just feel, when you start burping after food?
That's a shame.
Yeah.
You don't think it was all the onions?
No, I could taste the,
Okay,
I could tell the salmon was bad.
And you shouldn't grab the onions with your hands because your hands will smell of onions. That's hard to get rid of. You should always grab with your fork.
I like the smell of onions.
No, I know, but your girlfriend doesn't.
Yeah. At least I didn't get tuna and onions. I just got salmon and onions.
I bet now you wish you had
and chives and cream cheese.
Cream cheese and chives is good stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And not chives, I mean capers. Capers are smelly too.
Capers are great.
Capers are phenomenal.
I like capers.
Capers are, it's a flower pod. It's literally there's a caper plant, and it's those little capers. If you didn't pick them off, they would have turned into a flower. And they pick them and then they pickle it.
Interesting.
And that's what capers are.
I like sour pickles. I like capers. I like those big looking capers. Remember they used to have the Boca Resort with the scallop dish they don't make anymore? They're big.
Yeah.
And I don't
those are a little too big, honestly.
But I don't like, and I like olive oil, but I don't like olives.
I love olive products of every kind, but I don't like actual olives.
I don't know if I ever tried an olive. But I know I don't like them.
How do you know?
I must have tried them.
So I used to not like, or I don't like olives too, but I bet that if I gave them another chance, I'd like them. Because I used to not like pickles, love pickles. Used to not like mustard, love mustard. Used to not like capers, love capers.
Love capers.
But these are all strong flavors, and olives is a strong flavor. I bet if we tried olive, let's try olives.
I'm going to try it.
Let's try olives.
I'm going to try an olive.
I don't know if just popping the olive is the right move. Maybe do a tapenade on bread to start.
Whatever tapenade is.
It's just an olive dip.
What about a blue cheese olive? Think I'd like that?
I don't know.
I like blue cheese.
So I used to not like blue cheese. Now that's my favorite
love
cheese.
Blue cheese, yeah.
The funkier, the better with cheese.
I don't know
me.
about that, but I hear you.
No, but when you get blue cheese crumbles, and there's some that are just white, and then there's some that are full of fuzz.
No,
I want the fuzz. Give me all the fuzz.
It's called mold.
Yeah, no, I love it.
Isn't that funny? I guess our taste changes and we grow.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things I would never eat at your age, but now I eat.
Well, that's different. That's not.
You might culture because my parents.
But also, you might have liked them and you just didn't know. I genuinely could not stand the taste of mustard. Now I love the taste of mustard.
I don't like yellow mustard. I never did. I don't like
French's.
Mustard. Yeah, it should not be mustard.
It has its place on a hot dog.
I love honey mustard.
Spicy brown on a hot dog.
Spicy brown's the best, and I love the one you go to Polo Club. It has the seeds in it.
Oh, the full whole grain mustard. Love it.
Love it. You can't have too much of it though. It's just a little bit.
I love mustard.
All right. And I like the honey mustard.
Oh, well, honey mustard is arguably the best condiment.
Great, isn't it?
It's arguably the best condiment,
It's
and
great.
I like that it's not as prevalent as ketchup because then it wouldn't be as special.
No, honey mustard's great.
Every once in a while, you get chicken fingers, and you're like, you know what? Give me a side of honey mustard.
Or
and it's
Chick-fil-A
phenomenal.
sauce.
Oh, well, that's the top.
That's crack.
Oh, Chick-fil-A sauce.
Fuck, that's crack.
I always find that when I'm I never think about Chick-fil-A. And then always when I think about it, it's a Sunday and they're closed. That happens every single time.
It meant not to have it.
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A is low-key phenomenal.
Not even low-key. I think it's
phenomenal.
pretty high-key phenomenal.
Their sandwich ratio with the perfect pickles, the bread's great. The
Popeye's sandwich is better than Chick-fil-A sandwich, chicken-wise.
Popeye's the one in Hillsborough?
Yeah.
That's the one I like the best.
Popeye's chicken sandwich is unreal.
Popeye's chicken
Oh,
sandwich.
it's
And
so
aren't
good.
those pickles perfect? Yeah, no, it's perfect.
It's so good, even though I'm burping up salmon right now, which is disgusting.
All right, so what's happening, Ronnie? What's going on in this world today?
Not too much going on in the world right now, honestly.
No? You have nothing for us to talk about?
No, well, I have stuff for us to talk about, but there's nothing like in the world going on, like politically or.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sure there is, but
We will have a lot to talk about as we get closer to the election.
I'm excited for that
Why is that? Why is that?
because it's good content.
Who do you think is going to win?
Trump.
Oh, I would love it.
I think at this point, how does he not win?
Biden's the worst thing in the world.
He's got the nom, Trump, already,
Right. Oh, what is Nikki Haley still in it?
technically, but
Why?
she just lost South Carolina.
Waste of money. Who would give her money?
Right at this point,
Why
who's still
would
giving
give
her
her
money?
money? What's the
like who would
point of it?
donate? Because she's out. She's not
There's
winning.
no way she's winning. There's no way she's winning.
There's got to be ulterior motives that they have, that like you give her money and then she doesn't win, but then she gets placed on some committee and now you have a favor that you can call,
Well,
something
they all
like
do
that.
it for favors.
Yeah. It's so corrupt.
It's such a crock of shit.
It's crazy. And it wasn't meant to be that way. Like, that's what's so sad. And there's no way to go back. Like,
No,
it'll
the corruption
always
gets further. The fraud and corruption.
I've been thinking about it a lot because I'm in constitutional law, like that class. So most of it is like we're talking about, because everything we're talking about is basing it back to the Constitution. So we're learning about like all the clauses and all the powers that were enumerated.
I don't remember any of that stuff.
Right, but when we're learning it, like most of it is just like a history lesson, because you're learning about the actual language of the Constitution and what the founding fathers intended when they wrote this. That's like at the end of the day in that class, that's the core of what you're trying to get at, because you're learning law based on just the Constitution.
Isn't it interesting that that hasn't changed?
Well, so
one
that's-
overturn the law on that.
Well, you can't. That's the basis of our country.
But you can't. Why can't? Who makes that where that has to be the basis?
That is what it is.
No,
That's
I'm in agreement with it, but I'm just saying. But isn't that interesting that we stand so firm behind that? There's certain core things that will never be touched in that regard.
right. This is what I wanted to bring up because you think about it so often in that class, and I was like, it's just so interesting that a bunch of like 25-year-olds, they were really like George Washington, John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, they were all in their 20s during the
They
American
must have been
Revolution.
very bright, by the way.
Right, and that's the other thing too.
Very
It's like
bright. To have that foresight?
These young men, they were younger than me. They not only won a war against the biggest country in the world, literally won the war.
Who's that? England?
Yeah.
Okay.
At the time, they were the most powerful empire in the entire world. They won a war against them. And then they were like, we have to sit down and create an idea
With
for
no
a country.
internet, nothing.
And they just did it. And it was the best idea. Like the original idea
Where
for
is
this
the original
country.
Constitution?
It's in DC. You can go see it. I've
Yeah,
seen
I've
it.
seen it. I've seen it, yeah.
We don't, I mean, that might not be the original.
That's true.
On display, but that is quote unquote the original.
Remember the Nicolas Cage movie?
Yeah. National Treasure.
Good movie.
Great movie.
Yeah, really good movie.
Great
Okay,
movie, by
okay.
the way.
National Treasure 2 they had as well, right?
So it's in the National
I'm gonna
Archives.
rewatch that movie,
Oh,
too.
you should. It's a
Yeah,
good movie.
no, it's
Dad.
a good movie.
It's in the National Archives. This is just a little anecdote, and then let's get back to the main convo. That's where the Constitution is. On our 7th grade field trip, they took us to DC. We were studying American history or US Gov or whatever. So they took us to DC for a trip. We were in the National Archives and we're walking through. It's like a grand hall and they have all of the like constitutional amendments and you can like see the Constitution and the Declaration and it's all there. It's really cool actually. But I was walking with AJ and I think like Jake Goldstein and we were walking through, it's like a rotunda. And so you walk in a line and you see each document. And we were walking by, and we got to the 19th Amendment, which gave women the right to vote.
Oh man,
This is so. It was just
Remember the
so.
story.
It's just so middle school. We were walked by, and my friends and I, we look at each other and we go, "Ha ha," and we like start laughing, and we're like, "Wow, what a joke! This is like, wow, I can't believe they did that. This is the worst amendment." Joking, and Miss Corello,
Yeah.
who was our US Gov teacher, who was like a young liberal woman, was standing behind us and heard of the whole thing, and we got in serious trouble. It was not good. But I mean, we shouldn't have done that.
It's just a joke.
But it was like the worst timing. The only teacher that would have really
The bad one,
reacted
yeah.
was our US Gov teacher who took us on the trip. She was standing directly behind us, young liberal woman, when we pointed at the 19th Amendment and said, "Ha, what a joke." I don't agree with that anymore. That the 19th Amendment is a joke. Just to put that out there. But back to
what's Jake doing these days? He's a doctor.
he's a doctor.
Have you?
I mean,
spoken to him?
he was in medical school. I don't know if he's graduated.
You never spoke to him? Look him up.
Not
Facebook.
recently.
Curious to know if you can find him. He was a nice
Yeah,
kid.
of course. I'm friends with him.
He was a nice kid.
Yeah, I like him. He
Yeah,
went to med school.
I wonder where he's living.
Let's see. I mean, we don't want to say too many details and stuff.
No,
but let's see.
I just wish.
He lives in Illinois. I don't
Is he
know.
a doctor? Let me see what he looks like.
I don't know. It's hard to.
I know this is boring for people.
That's him and his girlfriend less than a year ago. These are the last pictures that he's posted.
Wow, look at him. He looks good.
Yeah.
She's cute.
He looks like his dad.
Let me see. Oh, wow. Good for him.
Yeah.
Let me see. Good for him. Wow, everybody grows up, huh?
It's weird.
Fuck. All right, so go ahead. Constitution.
Zach Davis got married last weekend, which is crazy. And
Nice kid, too.
Yeah.
Where's he living?
Here in Boca.
What's he doing?
Or Fort Lauderdale, maybe. I don't know.
Nice kid. I remember all you kids. I've known you guys since you're 4 or 5 years old, these kids.
It's weird when you see.
It's weirder for me.
Oh, of course. And like, it's weird even when I see like Burke's friends that are like adults that I would just hang out with.
Babies to you, right?
Full on. They were babies. They were little annoying children.
Wow. Zach's a nice kid. I always liked him.
So
good for them.
The founding fathers. Because it is crazy. Like they created this idea. No other country in the history of the world.
10 Commandments. You know, the Constitution is solid as if the 10 Commandments, because those are just fundamental basic rules or laws that everyone knows you have to live by. Isn't it just someone
right? And we all abide by it.
We all abide by it.
But
the beauty don't abide by it.
Well, it's our country.
You know, no, but I'm right.
Of course, other countries have their own constitutions with their own laws.
Say though, right? But I'm talking about we have many, many different laws, but this is like the 10 Commandments. It's almost like a certain basic fundamental. It's interesting. I'll continue.
But it's just interesting that there are two things that are interesting. One, the idea that a bunch of 20-year-olds fought an entire war, won it, and then we're like, okay, we have to sit down and come up with some idea. And it was new. Like no other country before America had a government quite like we did. It was there were republics and there were democracies, but not like this one. And with the protections that were placed.
And they could have made it. They could have been egotistical, power-hungry mongers could have made it completely different. That would have been strictly for the benefit of the government, the people in power, and that's it.
But the whole thing is, and this is a thing that we learn a lot too, and like you can see it in every word of the Constitution, because the whole point why they fought the war was they were like, we don't want to be ruled. We want self-governance. We want everyone in this area to be able to live their own life, not under a king.
And I respect it, but right, when you're a leader, there is a
part
of that power.
That's what's so admirable.
That's what I'm saying.
These 25-year-olds.
That's so unbelievable.
It's truly unbelievable that it actually worked. Like they all fought the war and then came like every other war for independence, right? Like the Russian Revolution, the Communist Party, like they fought on the idea.
Power.
No, they fought on the idea of we want to get rid of the power so that everyone can live their own life. But then once they won, then they got in and then it all got corrupted.
Because that's what happens with people in positions.
But it's amazing that it was like, and they were all young.
Right.
They were all my age. Like I couldn't even imagine if 20 people my age all got together and were like, okay, we can do this. We can create a new country.
You do ChatGPT.
It would not work. And they put it in, like when you really look at the Constitution, there are so many protections that they put in against all these things. It's like, and they were all smart. Like all of the founding fathers were smart in different ways.
Right.
And the fact that it all came together in that one time, it feels almost like it was like meant to be.
How many amendments are there?
Amendments to the Constitution since it was made? 20 something. 24, 23. So you can add to the Constitution, but you cannot change. You cannot, anything in the actual Constitution and the Bill of Rights, you cannot change. And that's another thing that I've been thinking about.
What's the Constitution and Bill of Rights?
The Bill of Rights is, so the Constitution lays out like all the powers of the government, and then the Bill of Rights is the first 10 amendments that they added that gives us, it like lays out the freedom of the press, freedom of religion, right to vote, all that stuff is like locked in the Bill of Rights. And so the thing, because at first you question it, right? When you first think about it, you're like, why do we still live like under the word of what a bunch of random people wrote down
and when 200
years ago, 1776? 1789 is like when the Constitution was actually made. Because at first we didn't have the Constitution. We had the Articles of Confederation, which was the original Constitution, and it was too weak. There was not enough of a government. So, and no one was even listening. None of the states listened to each other at all. There was no really federal government. It was just like a contract between the states. So that didn't work. So then like 10 years after the war, they came back and they were like, we need to make a little bit of a stronger federal government. But in doing that, they were so worried about tyranny, right? Like they were so worried about a concentration of power, about having a new king, right? Or the president becoming too powerful, that they put in all these protections. And so when you first think about, wow.
Who was the president at the time?
George Washington was the first president.
Right.
The Articles of Confederation, we didn't have a president because there was no federal government. It was just the states that all agreed. They were like, okay, let's all work together. But that doesn't work when one state's like, nah, fuck you, you know? George Washington was the first president. He didn't want to be president. They had to be like, we need you. He was like, I don't want to do it. He was against the idea of a president to begin with.
Interesting.
But like in 2024 America, you know, the world is so different than it was when they wrote the Constitution. They couldn't even fathom any of the stuff that we do now. But the
cores still apply.
Well, at the surface level, you're like, so yeah, why would we still follow word for word what they say, right? Like the whole point of the Supreme Court is to interpret the words of the Constitution for what they mean. It's like, when you think about it rationally, you're like, why would we follow that? We have the internet now. Like they didn't know about that. So their words are moot. It doesn't apply anymore. It's outdated.
It's using the moot term.
But when you think about it like deeper, the idea that that we as a country inscribed certain ideas that we are like, no matter what, you cannot override these. Like there's so much power in that. Being like, no matter what, you have your right to free speech. And no matter, even if, like we live in a democracy, right? So technically the idea of a democracy is majority rules. So so we live in a constitutional republic, right? So it's different. If we lived in a true democracy where it was just, if you got 51%, you could do whatever you wanted. If we got 51% of the country that was like, we don't want freedom of speech anymore, it would be gone. But the idea that like it's fully protected no matter what, even if 99% of the country was like, we do not want freedom of speech, it doesn't matter. It's permanently locked.
Unless you got new Supreme Justices that don't believe that.
No.
Who would overturn them?
But how could you?
You'd have to have a revolution. That's what happens.
Right. But then you have a new government. You have a new country.
If they prevailed.
Yeah, but right now we all agree that the Constitution is.
No, it works.
But it's just insane that happened, and it's still working. Like our country feels like it's kind of fallen into shambles.
Almost like alien-like, the fact that it have that foresight.
Not alien-like it, but it feels that like when I was saying all these smart people that came together, it feels like destiny almost a little bit.
Yeah.
Like it was meant to be, that they had this idea and they made it work. And then literally 50 years after, we were the greatest country the world's ever seen for 200 years.
But you know, people that study the Bible and religious people, they say the same thing about the Bible.
Right.
I know nothing about the Bible, but they'll say things that was written. When was the Bible written?
Well, there's no date, but it was at least the Torah or the New Testament?
The Old Testament.
So the Torah. Oh, that was written probably 3,000 years ago, 2,500 years ago.
So how that stuff still applies today. And then people swear by it, you know, in that regard.
But then there are two things there. Like kind of the idea of what I was saying, why the Constitution is so powerful is that things were locked in. Basic fundamentals that no matter what, even if you got 99% of people that were like, we want to get rid of this, if they were like, they couldn't override it. Like there's something powerful in it being like, this idea is so good that it needs to transcend anything else. And so the idea of freedom, right? Like that is such a valuable idea that we should protect it at all costs.
And they do.
And most of the Bible,
right?
But like most of the Bible, the teachings in it are really good ideas. And it's been proven over time because the world has been built on them, right? Like societies have flourished under the Bible, right? Like every culture, every Western culture.
So do you think it's God's doing or is it human being writing the book?
I don't know. My personal belief.
Yeah, so I'm asking you.
My personal belief is that like a couple thousand years ago, well, there are multiple authors to the Bible. Like they can tell by the way it was written.
Does anyone know where the original Bible is?
No. I mean, the thing is, it was probably a bunch of different books and teachings that were put together. You know, it's like if you wanted to right now, if you wanted to do a
Can I patent the Bible? Good.
If you wanted to like do a Bible of psychology, right? You were like, I'm going to create the ultimate psychology book. And you took a book from Freud. You took a book from Nietzsche, right? You took different authors, their ideas, and then you put them together and said, this is written by Jonathan Bloom. Here's the new book. That's what the Bible was like. It was probably multiple different teachings from multiple different sects across multiple different cultures that then someone synthesized it all. Because there are stories in the Bible that are found with different names across different cultures, like the Noah flood story, right? Noah's Ark, you know, the flood, the great flood, all that.
Yeah.
Most ancient cultures have that same story, just with different names. Same exact story.
So you think
they just don't have Noah, they just have different names. So there's two then theories on that. One theory is it's something that actually happened in the world and everyone wrote it down, right? Like 9/11 actually happened. So everyone has their own kind of version of it, but at the core, there's a real story. So that's one thing. And then there's a whole other, right? Like that could be true. And there's a whole other theory. We can talk about Younger Dryas theory, which goes with that. But then the other idea is that people were just sharing stories, right? Like if I came to you and we made up a story together in Mesopotamia, and then we traveled to Iran and we shared that story, and then they took the story down, and then they traveled, and so everyone kind of had the similar stories. Like movies nowadays are that same idea. It's like a movie, John Wick in America, they're probably making a similar kind of John Wick story in China.
Correct.
You know?
But so
that doesn't mean that John Wick happened. It's just that similar stories make sense to teach morals.
So the Old Testament, right? There is no original book that anyone knows of.
Like the first one?
Yeah.
No.
That'd be like the Holy Grail.
Yeah. I mean, there were very, very old versions.
So then, and it's the same. Every Bible, every Old Testament's the same. Now it is.
No, well,
published by, but
well, there have been different translations over the years, so they have slightly different, right? Because
when did the New Testament start?
After Jesus' death, like right after. So we live in 2024. Technically, our calendar is like Jesus died at 0. So we live 2024 years after Jesus died. So the New Testament was written by John and Luke and Paul, like his apostles after he died. So it was probably written within 10 years after his death, 30 years after his death.
It's amazing that people follow us.
It was probably even written after because they were preaching and then someone wrote their stories down after.
It is amazing people follow it.
No, but that's the point I'm trying to make is it's been proven.
The foresight, yeah.
It's been proven. You know how we were kind of talking about this at lunch, how there are certain parenting now is just like fallen to shit. But there have been certain parenting techniques that have been passed down over generations because they work. The kinks of them have been worked out, right? So like young parents 300 years ago, if they had some problem with their child, they would go to their parents and be like, what did you do here? And their parents know because they did that to their parents. And those parents asked their parents, right?
Well, that makes sense.
And so those kinks of not knowing what to do have been worked out. That's the same with the Bible. Like the Bible and the Torah, especially the Torah, like lays out rules for how to live your life.
Those who are not Jewish what the Torah is. They might not know what Torah is.
Well, yeah, they would. Because if you're right. The Bible is the Torah and it's the Old Testament and the New Testament. Like the 5 books of Moses is the Torah. But the Bible has the 5 books. If you say, this is my Christian Bible, the first 5 books in that thing is the Torah.
The Old Testament.
It starts with Genesis, then it goes to Exodus, the Egypt story. We just stop. And
have you ever read the Bible?
Yeah, not the whole thing, but cover to cover. But I mean, when I was a religion minor, we read a lot of the Bible, a lot of it, and studied different things about it. But what was I just saying? Oh, the thing with the Bible is like it tells you how to live a good life. At the core of it, all it is rules for how to live your life. Just like the Constitution. The Constitution says, here's a very good guideline for how to be successful and how to have a good society. Follow these. If we all agree to follow them, we'll have a good society. And the Bible has been worked out over multiple cultures, over thousands of years to do that. And it does work. Cultures that all abide by a common value system.
It does make sense.
It works.
It does.
It's way better than...
It prevents chaos.
Right, exactly.
Right.
And so I think especially Judaism, which is where Christianity came out from. Like Christianity started as just a different sect of Judaism, and then it morphed into its own thing. But Judaism started out just as a life, a rule, a constitution. It was just like, you do this on this at this time. If this happens, do that. It was just rules to live by in a society.
But it's amazing, like how it's evolved in such a powerful, and it's the most known thing in the world.
It's the most important thing in the world. Yeah.
Not most important, but
Yeah.
probably
Most
known.
impactful. How about that? Over history, there's been nothing
Yeah.
more impactful than that. The whole world is, and things that you don't even think about. I mean, like everything comes from that.
Everyone knows about the Bible.
Well, not even just knows. Everything comes from that. Literally everything we do, our calendar, our days like of the week, our holidays, our
Morals,
culture, all of it.
Laws, religion.
Right, but here's the thing, like
It's amazing.
It worked.
It's amazing.
It worked.
Something so old, such a basic thing, is such a constant thing in this world that's evolved so quickly.
When you look at, this might sound bad, but when you look at different types of religion, and like I literally studied this in college. This was like, you would compare religions and understand like what is what. So like the Bible, Christianity, is a very strong religion. The rules are very set in stone and they're very clear, as opposed to like Native American ideas of religion, which are very like fluid. There was nothing written down. It was all oral, passed to each other, and it was always evolving. When you look at ancient
More
times,
tradition based, probably.
no, it was like an oral tradition, and it wasn't as strong. It was more like individual beliefs and stuff. Not really, but it wasn't a codified religion. But when you look at the year 1300 and you look at Rome versus Florida, right? Like the Seminole tribe in Florida, like look at what they were able to accomplish in Europe, living under, and right nowadays we think of countries as, what do you mean? Why are you shrugging?
I don't know what they were able to do. I don't
Ancient
know.
Rome?
Oh, Rome. I'm talking about the Indians.
Right. Look at what Rome did
Correct.
versus what the Indians did.
Correct.
Like they
Big
did
difference.
Rome conquered the world, built
It's
marvels.
because of religion.
Yeah, 100%. It's because they had a society that was all on the same page. Everyone, there were strict rules. That's what I think, like the Bible, like that's the value of it. It's like the Constitution. Look at what in America we've been able to accomplish as a country, because we have very strict rules that inscribe how this country is to be. And then other countries that don't have that, like countries that are always in flux, you know, where their governments are always turning over, they are not able to accomplish anything.
So the Roman Empire, the biggest empire, right? At the time. I mean, it's one of the biggest empires.
Yeah, one of.
Okay, what happened to make it fall?
It was just, it just ran its course. I mean, that's a crazy.
No, simple.
There's so
Simple.
much. It got corrupt and power hungry.
Gotcha.
They overextended themselves. They lost sight.
Greed. Okay.
Yeah, they lost sight of what they didn't follow the rules anymore. That's the thing. It's like
Interesting.
you have such strict rules, and they're good rules. If you really look at the
No, they
Bible,
are good rules. They don't promote bad things.
the rules in the Bible are good, and they tell you how to live a fulfilling life. And I also think the things we're seeing now too. And when I say the Bible, I'm more talking about like
You're
everyone.
not saying from a religious standpoint. You're saying from the value systems that's set forth
Sure,
in the Bible.
but I'm not even just talking about like the Christian Bible. I'm talking about even like every religion's book.
You're not making it a religious topic. You're saying
Right.
the Bible as a thing to study and what it stands for.
Right, but even beyond that, I'm saying I'm not talking about just the Christian Bible.
I get it.
I'm talking about the Vedas, which is in Hinduism, in India, the Torah, right? Like,
What about the Quran?
right?
Isn't that promote bad stuff though?
Not really.
No. Okay.
There are interpretations of it that the Quran is not as good values as the Bible, in my personal opinion. But there are still very good values in it.
Okay.
But it's just like that is so important to have. And I think it, for like a lot of people, 95% of the people in the world need purpose and belief
and guidance
to live a fulfilling and satisfied life.
I agree.
They can't find that.
Why do you think?
I think that's just how humans are wired.
I always find that that's the part I find interesting. Like, like I think a lot of people live their life. There's real church-going, religious type people, and I'm making a general statement, of course, live their life in fear of God.
Yeah, but that's good for them. They need
that. It. No, I get it. I understand it. But
not even fear of God. I think it's...
No, I think it's in fear.
It gives them a purpose, that there's something that they're trying to work towards. It gives them a purpose and it gives them fulfillment.
The afterlife?
Whatever it is. Right? But like everyone has it. Me and you, we find that in different ways, but we still have it. You have a belief system that you rely on and that you listen to, and that sometimes you don't want to listen to, but you're like, you know what? I know it's good for me. Right? Like every successful person has values that they have decided for.
But everybody's values are different.
Right. But you are a capable enough person that you looked at the world and you were like, I want that value. I'm going to take that value. I'm going to take that value.
I get it.
And then you follow those. And when you don't, you feel bad. You repent, right? Like if you mess up, you go outside of your value system, you feel guilty.
Right.
You repent.
I understand that. Regret,
not everyone's capable of doing that themselves.
True. I guess that's
so. You need.
You're right.
And if you don't have that,
fair enough.
Let's say you don't have any of that. If someone didn't give it to you or you didn't make it yourself,
fair enough.
Everything would be bad.
No, I agree with you.
And so that's the point of it.
So I hear you loud and clear, and I respect that. So
it's a value system that's been worked out that someone can just
I
join.
can't expect everybody to be like me in that regard. I'm not saying to be narcissistic. I'm saying I can't, like if I have a certain way about it, I can't expect everybody that either be as strong or as this or whatever, or as, so I think it's a good thing. I get it.
And it also keeps a society in
check.
line.
Yeah, it does.
Which you need. You can't have a society where it's a free-for-all.
Well,
you need
to see what's going on.
Right. And so that was another point I wanted to make is like,
and that is religion has gotten weaker.
Right. That was the point I was just about to make.
And I think family values, the breakdown of families and parents being home and accountability for your actions and teaching and people sitting down as a family and having dinner and conversation.
Because there's no value system.
There's no structure, period.
Well, it's because 50 years ago, the world started being like, you know what? We don't like religion. And so they just started abandoning it, and then it didn't get replaced with anything else. And humans individually, for sure, for their own happiness and satisfaction and fulfillment, need a belief system.
Fulfillment.
But then also the society as a whole needs a common value system, a common belief that, hey, we all agree on this. We all agree we know it's good, so it allows us all to work together. And we took that away because the world got secular, and then we didn't replace it with anything.
When we grew up, families sat down at a dinner table, they talked.
But that's a Christian thing.
No, but I'm just saying.
Jewish too.
Listen, there was no cell phone, so you would talk. People would have conversations, and you would talk about good, bad things, whatever it was. Today, everyone just hides in their phones. It's very different.
Yeah, but that's a different issue. That's a technology issue.
What I'm saying is, though, it's no longer, there's no longer, interaction.
We all have our phones and we talk as a family.
No, but what I'm trying to say is interaction of people and which talks about values, which talks about structure, which, it's that I think is an important thing. I really do. And
the most important
thing.
And I think,
and I agree that is 110% lost, does not exist. Even it just does not exist.
What?
What we talked about.
A common value system.
Structure. Also, like a core belief system, core values. It just doesn't exist.
And so do you think we all so you think that it's important to have a core belief value system as a society? I think so too.
I think society needs, and I also think families need it.
Right. And individuals.
Right.
At the end of the day, when you go to bed, you need to know what you believe, how you feel about the world, what's right and wrong to you.
But people don't. But I think
right. But that's what religion is.
I get it, but that starts from the family. I'm not. See, all right. Let's call it religion. I don't want to put the label religion on it, but my point is, it starts from if the families are not together, and doing things together and having time to be a family and have that structure. I get it. Like for example, schools. You need great teachers, but it starts from home. Do you know what I'm saying? Society, you need great laws and great structure and things like that to avoid chaos and laws. But it starts from home. If you teach the right good values at home and the parents are on a similar page and you teach your kids and you just raise a good core family, it's going to make society 1,000 times better. It starts from the lower level, not the upper. See, I think it comes from bottom up, not top down.
Yeah, I think everyone agrees with you.
Yeah,
and
that's gone.
Every
By the way, that's
sensible
gone.
person believes that the family is the core to a good society.
It's gone.
And most of the rules, truly, like when I say most, I literally mean like over 50% of the rules that are written down in the Torah, the Bible, the Quran are about their family rules. You do this for your wife. You do this for your husband. You teach your children this. Your children respect
I never
you by
even read
this.
the Bible, but that's what I agree with that.
The Talmud, which is like the Jewish law book, all it is just duties that the majority of it is duties that each family member has to each other. And then it goes to duties that the family has to the community, to other families.
So you're saying what I'm saying.
Right.
It starts from the bottom up.
Yeah, and that's most of the rules in all of these religions are do this for your wife, do this for your husband. At this time of this day, you do this to the family does this together. Then at this time of this day, all the families do this together. Like that's literally they just talk that, and we've lost that completely. No one has that.
I think family values are the most important thing. I think having dinner with your family being close, being around with the family, talking, supporting each other, accountability. Those are religion, no religion, structural laws, whatever it is. Those are the most important things. And the breakdown of our society is the breakdown of the family structure. Really, that's just my opinion.
I don't. That's not a hot take. I think most people agree with you on that.
I'm not saying for me a hot take or whatever. I'm just talking like whatever.
Right. But you're saying that's your opinion. It's like, yeah, that's almost everyone's opinion, honestly.
No, I don't know if it's everybody's opinion because
a lot of people. Okay. Nowadays too, especially.
Okay, but the reason why I don't agree with you that it's a lot of people's opinions is because it doesn't exist. It just doesn't exist. If it was everybody's opinion, it would the family value.
It exists in Florida. It exists in Texas. It exists.
Okay, no, but generally speaking, the family value, the family dynamics, and the family structure does not exist like it did years ago. Therefore,
it's gotten worse for sure. But I think people are trying to correct it. People are recognizing that that's a problem.
Divorce rates high. No parents.
I
around.
wonder. I would bet that 2024 divorce rates are probably lower than 2020. I would bet.
Look it up.
Yeah, I don't know if that data is out. I mean, 2024, we're only 2 months in anyways.
Do 2023.
Yeah.
Do 20 and 2023.
But I would bet because for the last 20 years, religion rates down. The last 5 years, religion up.
I also think the fact of not marrying within your religion is a breakdown of our family and society and religion as well. I do.
But if you don't value religion, then why would you value marrying in your religion? Because
I'm talking from a cultural standpoint, from a belief standpoint.
So marrying into shared values.
Yeah, but that comes from your
right.
Even though I'm not religious, that comes from your upbringing of years and years and generation of, let's say, Judaism.
Of a tradition and of a set of values that have been worked out. Because that's what we've been talking about. But you have
Yeah, I'm not saying we weren't talking about that.
No, I know. I'm agreeing with you.
I have a what?
You have a very negative initial reaction to religion.
I do because I don't believe in God. I don't believe in that stuff. I believe in culture. I believe in like Zionism.
Right, but that's most of what religion is.
Yeah, but there's a difference though.
Most of religion isn't about just the idea of God. It's about how to live your life in the way that it tells you.
Okay. That's what it's supposed to be, I believe. However, I don't think that's what religion is in modern day, where the rabbi, the priest tells you this and they talk about God and this and that. And that part I don't get. I don't agree with it. I don't get it. I don't
What?
subscribe.
You're saying they're telling you this and that. What do you mean?
Meaning the preaching of the I am God's children, we're God's children. He's our king. He's our savior. Jesus being resurrected. I don't believe it. I just don't believe in those things.
Sure.
I believe in culture, tradition. I don't look down upon, let's say, Christianity because I'm Jewish. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I think religion.
I think you look down upon people who are people who believe in those things.
I don't look down upon. I don't understand. I don't look down upon people. Why would I give a fuck?
Maybe look down upon is the
if
wrong
somebody
word.
believes in God, mom believes in God. That's okay.
No,
There's nothing wrong with that.
Dad, we're not just talking about the only idea of believing God. I'm talking about what you were just saying. King, resurrection, all that.
No, I don't
you were
look
just
down
saying.
upon. I don't think it's. I don't agree with it. I have a completely different.
I think it's
down upon.
Not
people.
look down upon. Maybe that's the wrong word.
You know how many close friends of mine.
Okay, so I take it back. I don't mean look down upon that. I think that you think that that's like ridiculous. Well, then what's the then what?
I don't understand why.
I think it goes more than not understanding because you don't understand math, but you don't.
How do you know I understand fucking math? Fuck you.
You understand calculus?
That's how I understand other math.
Okay, so you don't understand calculus.
Okay,
right? Or should I change it to some? Do you agree with me?
Fine.
You don't understand calculus,
but calculus it's quantifiable is a difference.
Okay, wait, but your main issue with it is you, or maybe we can change the words, but what I'm getting from what you just said, which is I'm just taking your words. You said I don't understand it, and so therefore
I understand
blah,
how
blah.
people can believe that someone who's dead, who's just a human being, is going to be resurrected, and that's when the world is over.
Right, but okay, so you don't understand that they believe it, but there's more. Dad, I can see in your facial expressions that there's more to it than you just don't understand it. Because I don't understand how this computer works, but I don't go, ugh, the computer, ugh, right? I don't understand it.
I don't make those faces anyway. It sounds like it looks like you're constipated.
You just said resurrected, God, like you did that, but you don't do that when I'm telling you about calculus.
I don't.
Right, so it's more than not understanding. There's a bad taste in your mouth of it. There's a negative aspect to it. It's more than not understanding because you don't understand calculus. But if someone studies, if someone studies
down upon it,
if someone studies calculus and that's what they spend their day, you would just be like, oh wow, I don't understand that. But there would be no negative feelings. You have negative feelings with that, with the belief in God and all that stuff.
I think that anyone that's super religious, I have it's a turnoff to me.
Why?
It is because I don't think people should devote their whole life to some sort of fantasy or
why is it a fantasy
or speculation? Because you have one life. Live your life.
Do you devote
live your life?
You devote your life. Hold on, let me finish. You devote
finish. Okay, good.
You devote your life to our family, to the idea of our family, which is more than just us, right? Like it's more than just the five of us physically. Like there's a bigger sense of an idea of our family. There's something more than just the individual five of us, right? Like there's something that you've built over 30 years. You've put work into it. There's values that you've instilled. It goes beyond just you, right? Like it goes to me and then past me, it'll go to my children. And these are things that you have created and willed into the world. There are a lot of it that's not tangible. Our love for each other is not tangible. It's not quantifiable, right? But you said math is quantifiable. The feelings we have to each other in our family, the bonds, that's not. Well, hold on, but let me finish. You're instantly, because what I'm going to compare it to. You're instantly,
but your analysis
negating
is
it.
Wrong. But go ahead.
Why?
Go ahead. Finish what you're going to say. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Our family is bigger than the quantifiable five of us. The idea of the family that you have worked hard to create, that you devote your life to, is more than just you. You devote all your life because you want it to go past when you die. You want it to go after, right? Like you. Why are you rolling your eyes? You say this. You say, I work so that you children, I buy this property so you children can have it after I die. And then your children. You devote your life to more than just your life.
Okay.
So why because your criticism of religion, it was almost verbatim this. You said, I don't agree with someone devoting their life to fantasy.
Right.
There is fantasy in this family. No, love is fantasy.
Listen.
Your love for me, quantify it. Show it to me.
There's a different aspect of living today while you have a finite, a certain defined time on this earth to be around with people that you care and try to make the best of it while you can.
You don't think religious people do? That's the whole reason why they believe in the stuff they believe in.
I'm talking about when you live your life for example, if I don't know if it's Christianity or Catholicism, whatever it's saying, gay people are bad.
Okay, but that's not really what we're talking about.
What I'm saying is because that's what I'm talking about. Because for example, when you in religion, just because it's in a book and you're told by a person who's a human being up on a pulpit that interpreting the book and saying because it's in the book, I don't agree with that.
Okay, so you want to hear my critique to that? Because I have a good rebuttal.
Okay. Yes, let's hear it.
Well, we're having a conversation.
I'm not mad at you.
No, but it seems like you're not.
I promise you, I'm not mad.
You're not like wanting to listen to me. You just said okay.
No,
okay,
Bronson. I have been listening to you, and I do want to listen to you. So that's not, and I'm not mad. But what I'm saying, there's a big difference to being in the moment, to sharing the finite 24 hours in a day and living your life and being and people around you, as opposed to saying, God, whatever that is, it means something different to everybody else. You are my savior. I'm going to live my life for the benefit of you. Or I'm going to go ahead and say gay people a bit, which I don't agree with gay people a bit. Obviously, that's not what I'm saying. But in religion, there's, I just don't agree with that. Now, what's your rebuttal to that?
I have the rebuttal to the gay aspect, but with what you just said, you said there's a big difference between living in the moment, 24 hours in the day, being present, than God, all that stuff. So I just want to say, one, religious people they're very present plenty of time. They're not always living for God, right? A lot of it's present. And then the other thing is a lot of what you do is not present. You just at lunch today, you said, I don't have to work anymore, but I'm still doing it. Why? For the future. You live in the future all the time.
But that Bronson, I'm not sure, but either you're not understanding because how do you not understand what I'm talking about? There's one of talking about, when I say live in the future, not for the future or this or that, that's different than I'm talking about whether it's heaven or hell.
But that's living for the future.
No, it's not.
To them it is. To them it is.
Difference. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm not.
No, I do.
Difficult.
But like
your analogies are not analogies to what I'm saying.
Fine. You do a lot of what you do for my future and my children's future. Things that you will never see. You work hard.
No, but there's a difference. I do see it. You're my legacy. It's different.
Right,
I'm not living for God. Okay, it's the same difference that when you have the people that let's assume, what's the people who drank the Kool-Aid and died, who thought that was the
Jonestown.
Okay, they had their God. You might say they're crazy. They were going to take their life for their God. That was their God. Okay. Well, I think that's crazy.
Okay.
I think that I wouldn't.
You wouldn't take your life for the family?
No, but
no, I'm asking. That's a question.
It's a big difference. Of your family. Okay, don't you say it's instinctive? Animals don't believe in God. Okay, animals do not believe in God, but animals know that.
Right, and we humans, we believe in God, and we've created cities. Animals live in the jungle.
Listen,
and it's because we believe in God. Honestly,
listen. But my point is that But we also create a lot of other problems too. Besides just cities are not like the best thing in the world. Human beings create social media and internet, and I don't think it's a positive.
Okay,
my point is the animals will protect their offspring no matter what. It's instinctive. So when parents do for their kids and for their legacy, it's instinctive.
Okay,
that's different opposed to saying Jesus will be resurrected.
Well,
I don't know personally. And I don't how anyone living today's day and age truly believes that Jesus will be resurrected. Now, the only reason why they believe it is because ever since they're little, they're told this, and they're told not to question.
That's not true. What about people who convert to Christianity?
Okay.
Bronson, they're not told it when they were little.
Bronson, my point is, those people.
You said the only reason. What if they believe it?
Bronson, when do I really have to in every word?
Okay,
wait, let's stop.
No,
I want to say,
Dad, I love
Dad,
you go down that.
Because with every word, I'm like, that's black. Well, technically, it's a shade of gray black, and it's really black's not a color; it's more of a tone. I mean, you understand? There's a difference.
Yes.
So when I say that, I don't mean
I understand.
Literally everybody.
Yes. Okay.
So that's the point I'm trying to make.
So because I know, but don't you also see there's like hypocrisy in that idea? Because you're saying the only reason these people are the way they are is because they were raised this way. and they believe that, and that's terrible. But then you just said you need to marry within your religion. Let me finish. You need to marry within your religion because that's your culture. That's what you were taught. It's how you were raised.
And because there's no Jews around. And if we do that, that's the big thing.
Right. But also, like, you're saying both the same thing. You're saying growing up in a culture and the way you're taught and the way you were raised and the way your grandparents and great-grandparents and all that stuff, the way you were raised
Right, but
is
I'm not
bad.
saying it from a religious standpoint.
But you're saying
Bronson.
it's bad?
No.
Because you're saying the only reason they believe this is because they were taught.
First of all,
But
I'm not
you
arguing, so why are you changing your facial expression and your voice?
Okay,
That's
sorry.
not what
Sorry.
I'm literally
I apologize.
For the 8 minutes out of the hour I'm talking, I don't think I'm acting that way. I'm not.
You just said the only reason they believe in Jesus and the resurrection is because they were taught that. And you meant that in a negative way, right? You were saying, I can't believe they believe that. It's just because they were taught.
Yeah, because
the only reason
why should people even believe? Why should people just
believe in some fantasy thing?
No, just be like you can question. We know that when we know scientifically when you're dead, you're dead.
No.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Wait, how do we know that scientifically?
We know that you're not. If you're dead, you're not coming back to life. When you're in the
that's
ground,
different.
you're dead.
Well, okay, wait. You just said two different things.
That's what I'm talking about.
You said when you're dead, you're dead. We know that. And then you said when you're dead, you don't come back to life.
No.
But what if there's something else?
No.
You don't know that.
I know. We know when you die and go in the ground. That's what I'm talking about. You're not coming back up.
That body isn't coming back up.
You're not coming back up.
Right. That body isn't coming back up.
So
but we don't know that you're gone.
So you think that?
Oh, I don't know, but we don't know.
Jesus, let's talk about Jesus.
So I'm the one saying I don't know. You just said we know. How do we don't know?
Okay.
You said
that's what we disagree.
What science? You just said scientifically we know that once you die, you die. Show me that science. What do you mean? I don't understand that. Genuinely. We know for a fact that when you die, that nothing happens. We do not know that.
If Jonathan Bloom is 6 feet under, Jonathan Bloom is not coming back.
In front of my eyes, yeah. You might be elsewhere. That's like someone saying if 500 years ago you went on a plane, or let's say someone never saw a plane ever. I got on the plane and I went away, and now I'm not around there. I live in China now, and I never came back. To that person, I ceased to exist from the world. I'm still around. I'm just not in their world.
No, completely different.
It's different. I'm just giving an analogy.
Wrong. Your analogy is not applicable. It's not an analogy.
It is
not.
An analogy.
You're making a comparison. That is not an analogy.
That's what an analogy is. A comparison.
It's not applicable. I know what a
Based
fucking
on
analogy
what?
is.
It's not applicable.
Getting
Why?
on a plane, being alive, and leaving here and going to Japan.
Yeah.
It still means you're alive. I'm talking about when
if that person doesn't know. Dad, what if Pa is alive somewhere and you just don't know?
Okay.
Because you don't know.
Okay, alive where? Tell me where.
I don't know because
give me a thought. Tell me where he'd be.
Oh, I have no idea. I don't believe that, but I'm saying conceptually, it's not crazy to think because if someone
mean a soul?
I have no idea what Dad. Right. If someone,
we're never going to agree in this conversation. We're not going to agree in this conversation.
Right, sure. All I'm saying is I don't know. You're saying you know, and I'm saying how do you know?
My point is,
what if aliens came? Right? Do you believe that the idea of aliens could possibly exist?
Yes.
Okay, right, but they're not here. They're in a different place, right? And the idea of them is fantasy. We have no evidence. There's no scientific evidence for it at all. You have a belief that these other beings exist.
It's a belief. That's all it is.
All a belief.
But when you're dead, you're dead. But when you're dead, you're dead.
Why?
Because the body, it's done. It's over.
That's
why. You think the body is just a vessel for the person?
I have no idea.
Okay.
How do you know? How do you know?
Because I don't think there's been nothing.
That's think. You said I know.
There's no
evidence.
Nothing to show.
Right. There's nothing to show for aliens. You believe in them.
But there's a difference.
Why?
Because mine is not. When I believe it, you got to fucking stop.
Okay.
Bronson. Seriously, I love you, but you've been talking so much, which is fine. Because what you have to say, I find very interesting. Like when you're talking about the constitutional stuff, I think it's very interesting. I'm listening. I'm learning from you, and I think it's great to hear, and I want to hear it. But when I say one sentence, honey, you got to let me finish my one sentence.
Okay.
Okay. Obviously, I'm not a scientist, but when the body is dead, it's dead.
Why?
It goes under. Because it ceases to exist.
Your fingernails keep growing.
When you're dead?
Yep. Forever.
Yeah.
That's something that's happening.
Do they really?
Yes.
Show me. So when you exhume a body, the fingernails are like a foot and a half long?
Hair and fingernails appear longer after death. Oh, no, not because they're still growing, because the skin recedes.
Okay.
The skin retracts.
All right, so there you go. So now.
Okay, wait, but so you said, like, sure.
Can I go back to
how do you know that?
How can I, okay. My point is this. What I'm getting at is that you brought up saying you do things for the future for your kids and you generate, okay.
Okay, wait, but let's stick on this one because that was a different conversation. Like the alien thing is a perfect analogy, and I think it's an analogy. You said, I believe in aliens. There is no scientific evidence.
I know. I'm not opposed to there being aliens.
You're open to the idea that possibly might exist.
Correct. I'm not open to the idea that Jesus is going to be resurrected. That's
Why?
all. Because I think when you're dead, you're dead.
Okay, wait, but so what if?
That's my answer.
Oh wait, but Jesus resurrected. But what about God?
I don't believe in the God.
Okay,
that's my answer.
But if someone else believes in it, you're like they're wrong.
No, I don't think they're wrong. I just don't.
You said I don't understand how someone could believe in that, but you believe in aliens.
No, listen. But I'm allowed to say that.
No, of course you're.
Listen.
Dad, you're saying I don't understand. You're saying I don't understand how someone can believe in a different being that lives.
I don't live my life for the benefit of aliens being out there. I don't. But people live life for the benefit of God. There's a big difference.
Okay. But you said I don't understand how they believe in it.
No, not
devoting
God.
your life to it is a different story.
Not God. People could believe in God because it's a higher. I think it's some sort of more spirituality. I don't understand how people can believe that Jesus will be resurrected. There's a big difference.
Okay.
I don't believe God is quantifiable. But I believe Jesus. We know existed. We know he's dead. We know where he's buried. I don't believe, and that part will never understand. But if someone else believes in God, I don't. There's no harm in it as long as it doesn't harm people. But I just think to live your life where you devote your life to God, I don't understand. I believe you should be more devote your life to what's around you on this earth because I believe you only have one life. I don't believe that it's a heaven. I don't believe there's a hell. I don't believe there's a resurrection. I don't believe there's pearly gates. I just don't believe that. If somebody wants to, great. But the beauty is I don't believe in it.
What about all the science? Like there's actual real hard science that is starting to come out about like, we've talked about like the multiverse, right? Like parallel dimensions and the multiverse. There's real science. The smartest people in the world, that's what they're studying. String theory, multiverse idea. That is intangible. It's somewhere else that is not here. Right? Like, so you're saying when you're dead, you're dead. And I made the analogy, yeah, but if I get on a plane and no one knows, you don't know what a plane is. Your brain cannot conceptualize what a plane is, right? Let's just say. Right? Let's say you grew up in the woods in a commune and you don't even know what technology is. And I come to you and you meet me, whatever, and then I go to Japan and I never come back. To you, you're like, he disappeared. He does not exist in this world anymore. Because you don't, let's say you
that's where I stop you right there. I disagree with
that.
But
let's say you only truly believe, because most of the world, up until like a couple hundred years ago, most of the world was just right? Like they thought the world, they didn't even know America existed.
I think your analogy is wrong, though.
But they didn't even know in Europe for thousands of years that America existed. They thought it was just Europe was the world. And they were like, we know it's just Europe. We've been in the ocean. Look, I can see with my eyes. There's nothing.
I understand.
And so, I know I'm getting to the end of the analogy. So, and they were like, we know that that's it. And now in current modern day society, we're like, the world is just our world. But now we're learning with the Hubble telescope and James Webb and all this stuff that there's so much more out there, right? And now we're learning with science that there's multiple dimensions, that like we exist, us possibly, but in a different variation of us that's also coexisting on this linear plane. And that's science, right? That's not like that's literal. So you were saying science tells us that the body's dead, right? Science also tells us that there are multiple dimensions of us. So the idea of saying
not multiple, I don't think multiple dimensions of
the
us.
Multiverse, the idea of
I just got to tell you, I'm listening to you. I have my haircut. I'm not fucking missing my haircut.
The idea of the multiverse is that it's like every variation that could possibly exist is existing. And so there's variations of us that are also coexisting out there in different times. Okay. Not times, different dimensions.
Here's the way I look at it.
But let me finish this analogy. That's all stuff that's happened, right? Like the world keeps getting bigger and bigger and our understanding of it keeps getting more vast and vast.
Right.
5,000 years ago, they didn't know that there were other solar systems, right? And now we know, like we see these pictures from Hubble telescope that are like, those are worlds out there. So
Tangible though.
But no, the parallel dimensions isn't.
Yeah, okay.
But when you're saying when you're dead, and I said, how do you know? What if there is another place? What if like when I use the analogy of me going to Japan, I think
your analogy is the wrong analogy though. I'm literally differentiating you.
Okay, going to Mars. Okay, wait, but sorry, then I used the wrong analogy. But the idea, you don't understand the idea of what I'm trying to say. You're saying I know that this is true. And I'm saying, yeah, but in 3000 BC, they said our village is the only village that exists. Look, I'm looking around. There's nothing else. You're saying I'm looking around. There's nothing else. But that's not a valid, not a valid,
okay,
because we're already learning that there are other things that we cannot conceptualize, or even aliens. I can't see them, but they might be out there. But for me to be like, nope, I know there's no aliens, that's ridiculous for me to say. I don't know.
But that's not what
you said. I know when you die, you die.
Okay.
You said that.
Okay.
And I said, I don't know. And you said, then what happens? And I said, I don't know.
Okay.
But I'm open to the idea that maybe there's something else. I don't know. For all we know, Pa might be in a different dimension, just chilling. And that's what happens after you die in this dimension.
I don't believe so.
When you were born, right? Like you were born, right? And then you existed here. Where were you before that? Do you know?
When I was
so like
born?
you as you, right? Like you have ideas and thoughts, and you feel like you're a thing, right? Like you're a thing more than this is. I'm asking you, do you feel like you are?
Ronzi, go ahead.
So where was that before you remember it?
What do you mean? I was from a sperm and an egg. That's how nature works. That's
right.
a scientific thing.
But you
and it grows.
Yeah. And so what happened? Like, no, but I'm trying to conceptualize the idea of it. You are a thing that one day was here.
From a sperm and an egg, which scientifically, we know how that works and how we see how life in every life form grows. But continue.
Right. And so
I'm not following what you're saying.
Dad, so we learned about a sperm and an egg and how that works like 100 years ago. Right? Like the actual what a sperm and an egg are. They didn't know that. They just thought you would do this and a person came out. Right? But the science of that we just learned pretty recently.
Therefore what, Bronson?
Therefore, we might just not have learned of the science for the next thing. Right? Like, why are you thinking that everything we know now is what we know? We're learning new things every day.
That's not what I said, because I don't dispute the fact that there may be other life form. I don't dispute the fact that there are other galaxies and
so why do you dispute the fact that there might not be something after you die?
Because I am allowed to dispute it.
Well, of course you're allowed. I'm not saying don't do it.
I think once you're fucking dead, you're dead.
I know, but why?
Because the body is, I don't believe that the body is just a vessel. I don't believe in it's just, so I believe that all the like if I take a flower and burn the flower, that living flower is dead. It doesn't exist anymore. That is done.
Science also teaches us, like science.
And then I got to wrap this up.
Thermodynamics and everything. The idea, like this is one of the original tenets of science that still is around, as important as physics, as gravity, is that all matter is the same. Everything is
the atoms. I get it.
Everything is nothing is created or destroyed.
It's all energy being recycled.
Right. So that flower doesn't cease to exist. It goes elsewhere. Right? Like you put a body into the ground and it becomes fertilizer. And then something grows out of it. We have no idea what if that fertilizer becomes a thing.
I love you. I'm being honest when I tell you this. I understand what you're saying because you said it many times. And I'm not saying it's a negative. No, you're getting mad at me.
I'm not mad.
I'm talking nicely to you.
Me too.
I get what you're saying, and I heard you many times. I believe that when you're dead, you're dead.
And I'm asking you based on what? And you're not giving me anything.
Based on my who I am, based on my value system, based on my beliefs, based on my life experiences. And if I'm wrong, that's going to be a great, awesome surprise for me.
Who knows? It might be way worse after this. Who knows?
Okay. If I'm not wrong, I'm saying you got to make while you're on this earth the most fulfilling that you can. That's all I'm saying.
And I was not.
That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying
they're not mutually exclusive. You can believe that something else is after and still make every day count.
I don't believe there's anything after us.
Okay, but that's not.
And I don't believe that Jesus will be resurrected. And
okay, neither do I. Neither do I.
I know you don't.
I don't even believe in God I don't believe in God.
Right.
But I don't believe that there isn't a God. You understand?
Okay, but
you
mind
believe
you-
that they're you not believe. You said I know.
no, okay, but Bronson, when I
I believe
say
that they're aliens. I don't know that
when
there are.
okay, but you understand this is the literal Bronson, the literal Bronson. When I'm saying, obviously, I haven't written a thesis on it and I haven't researched it.
No, of course. But
So
when you said
say
I know that when you die, you die. It's
but
like you
that's
don't know.
Okay, but we know obviously. But this is I talk about are my beliefs, my views, and my opinions.
Right. And all of a religious person that you say, I don't understand how they believe that. That's the same idea. It's what you're doing.
I get it, but I'm allowed.
It's beliefs.
But they could say to me, which is fine, I understand how you don't believe in God, and that's fine. And
Of course.
And I like those debates. I like discussing the differences with people. I do. I like that. I'm not saying they're a fucking moron, and they could say I'm a fucking moron. I'm just giving you my view on it.
Sure,
That's
me
all
too.
I'm doing. I know.
Me too. That's
I can't
what we're doing.
I can't oppose. I believe that we wait a long time for Jesus to be resurrected. That's all. That's all.
All right, okay.
Bronny, I love. What are you making? You
Nothing.
seem like you're upset over
I'm
that.
not upset.
I don't think I could have been. I don't think I could have been any nicer.
Me
on this
neither.
podcast.
I don't know. None of us are upset at each other. I don't know why you keep
good.
saying
I
you're
love
upset.
you.
Or I'm upset. I mean, I don't think I am at all.
Bronny, I love you. Everybody,
Love you
thanks
too.
for listening. Be well. You're joking, right?
Well, I'm trying to be hopeful. I'm trying to be optimistic about that.
Well, I guess you're too young to be a little pessimistic like me.
The fucking things I see out there, people are stupid.